Good afternoon and welcome to the official press conference following the General Affairs Council. On stage we have Danish Minister for European Affairs, Mrs. Bjerre, and Commissioner for Democracy, Justice, the Rule of Law and Consumer Protection, Mr. McGrath. As always, we will start with brief statements from the Minister and the Commissioner, and then we will open the floor for questions. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And good afternoon. We had a very constructive meeting today in the General Affairs Council. First of all, we had a constructive discussion on a range of files that the European leaders will be discussing later this week on Thursday and Friday. The key discussions for the leaders will be competitiveness, support for Ukraine, and also how we can strengthen European defense. The roadmap presented by the Commission serves as a good basis for these discussions. Now we have to have concrete targets and we have to be able to deliver on, we have to be able to defend ourselves by 2030, and therefore we have to look at what Europe must be able to do and go into specifics how to fulfill the goals. I sense that the member states share the sense of urgency on this matter. We also had a very good discussion on the next Multiannual Financial Framework. The Commission's proposal deserves a thorough discussion, and we had that today. We will also have another discussion in November and in December. Today, we discussed the first block of possible elements of a draft negotiating box. This box will address the horizontal aspects, and the member states contributed very constructively today. As presidency, it is our responsibility to ensure progress. We need a new budget, and we need a new budget that are responding to the challenge that Europe is faced with. Status quo is not an option for the next MFF. And therefore, it is our job to pave the way for a timely agreement and also avoid delays for European citizens and our businesses. Our plan is, as I already said, to discuss this again in November and December. We are aiming for the first box of negotiation in December, and by that, giving a good ground for the future presidencies. Also on the agenda today at our General Affairs Council meeting was simplification. We had a progress report on the simplification. It is a high priority for the Danish presidency. It is necessary for our businesses in Europe that it becomes easier to do business in Europe. We have very high ambitions on this agenda, and we have already made significant progress. But we will continue, and we will continue move on with this agenda. And today I also sensed a strong support from the member states. Last but not least, we had a hearing on Hungary under the Article 7 procedure. This is not the first hearing we have. This is, in fact, the 9th time we have a hearing of Hungary under the Article 7 procedure, starting in 2018. But the hearing is not less relevant. On the contrary, Hungary continues to reject the concerns, and also today is more simply responding by saying that they believe the hearing are political motivated, which it is not. There are serious concerns on the violation of rule of law. Today we had very strong interventions by the member states. And therefore, I also think this will not be the last hearing we have on Hungary under the Article 7 procedure. More member states want to see action. The dialogue will continue because we will stand up for our European values. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Commissioner, please.
Thank you, and thank you, Mary, and thank you all for being here. I'd like to start by expressing my appreciation to Mary and the Danish presidency for keeping democracy and the rule of law, both of which were central themes to today's discussions, but for keeping them at the forefront of the agenda of the presidency. We also had important discussions on the draft conclusions for the upcoming European Council, the EU's next long-term budget, and indeed the Commission's proposals for simplification. Let me start with a quick word on the European Council and on the revised draft conclusions that we spoke about today. The Commission is working tirelessly on several initiatives aligned with the topics covered in these draft conclusions. On Ukraine, we reaffirmed our continued and unwavering support for Ukraine's independence, sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Commission is actively working to lay the groundwork for the reparations loan. On the Middle East, we discussed the need to follow up on the discussions from yesterday's Foreign Affairs Council. To achieve long-term peace, the Commission considers it crucial to support the Palestinian Authority and its reform efforts. On security and defence, we took stock of the work carried out so far to strengthen the EU's defence capabilities, ensuring we become a hub for defence innovation and preparedness. And on competitiveness, it's clear that simplification is central to boosting EU competitiveness and must be advanced swiftly as a shared commitment among all of the EU institutions. We turned to a discussion on the EU's proposal for the next long-term budget, the MFF, and this item at Commission level was taken by my colleague, Commissioner Serafin. It included what I believe was a constructive exchange on several cross-cutting issues related to the budget, such as simplification, predictability and governance. And as Minister Bjerre has said, the work will continue in relation to the MFF. The Presidency presented today a progress report on the Omnibus simplification package. At this stage, the Commission has made its position clear. We must deliver on simplification while fully preserving our original policy objectives. As you know, the Commission has set an ambitious target to achieve an unprecedented level of simplification, reducing the administrative burden for all businesses by 25% overall, but by 35% for SMEs, so for small and medium-sized enterprises. And we believe that this translates into cutting the administrative costs by some €37.5 billion. We've already taken important steps towards this goal. In the first months of 2025, we have proposed as a Commission 6 different omnibus packages, and taken together, when implemented, these packages will result in savings of some €8.6 billion in areas of critical importance to business. Before the end of this year, we will be bringing forward additional omnibus and simplification packages targeting key sectors such as digital, environment, automotive, medical devices and food and feed safety. I also had the opportunity today to present Ministers with a final update on our preparations for the upcoming European Democracy Shield, a file which falls directly under my own portfolio. As we know, democracies across Europe are facing numerous challenges and threats, and we must address these. Our information space is being targeted by foreign information manipulation, interference and also disinformation. Hostile actors responsible are trying to weaken public trust, undermine the cohesion in our societies and indeed interfere in our electoral processes. Our democratic watchdogs are under pressure as the economic viability of traditional media is undermined, notably by digitalisation and the role of online platforms, leaving what we refer to as news deserts. The Democracy Shield aims to provide a strategic approach to protect and promote democracy across the EU. It will consider measures to reinforce the integrity of the information space by countering foreign information manipulation, interference and disinformation, to support free and fair elections and democratic safeguards, to bolster free, plural and independent media, and to empower citizens themselves through civic education and media literacy, and so promote their participation in deliberative democracy. Overall, we aim to help our democracies become more resilient in the long run. The Shield will also be complemented by the first ever EU-wide civil society strategy, and we plan to adopt both communications before the end of the year. As Mary has said, today also saw the 9th formal hearing of Hungary under the Article 7.1 procedure. The last time the Commission provided information to the Council was in May of this year. Since then, the Commission adopted its annual Rule of Law report for 2025. That happened in July. And I explained to Ministers that the Commission continues to share many of the concerns expressed in the European Parliament's reasoned proposal of 2018. Our key concerns reside in a number of areas which I updated Ministers on today. It includes the actions of the Sovereignty Protection Office against journalists and media outlets. As you know, in October of last year, the Commission decided to refer Hungary to the Court of Justice over the protection of national sovereignty law, a case that is currently pending. I also reiterated the recurring limits to freedom of association we're witnessing through the obstruction of civic space and a deteriorating environment for civil society organisations. In May this year, a draft law on transparency in public life was tabled in Hungary's National Assembly, although work on it has since been postponed. The Commission has already voiced its serious concerns about this draft law with the Hungarian authorities. The Commission also expressed concerns around the 15th Amendment to the Fundamental Law. Under this amendment, a specific new law on freedom of assembly was used this year to ban several public demonstrations on grounds of breaching the so-called child protection law. And I would like to recall that the Commission has already taken Hungary to court for this child protection law. The case is now under review by the Court of Justice. Hungary had the opportunity today to set out its position and to reply from questions from the Member States. It remains the Commission's position that the Article 7.1 procedure offers a useful avenue for political dialogue and should be maintained as long as the issues that triggered it in the first place remain unresolved. As I made clear today, the Commission continues to stand ready to engage constructively with the Hungarian authorities on all of these issues. So that's a brief summary from the Commission's perspective of what was a very productive and fruitful discussion at the GAC today, chaired by Minister Bjerre. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now let's open the floor for questions. First question will be for Mr. Roland Papp, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me and see me. My question is about Hungary. I work for Népszava, Hungarian daily newspaper. My question is about Hungary because both the Minister and Commissioner mentioned the concerns you still have with Hungary, and it seems that you don't think things have improved. At the same time, when it comes to, for example, the state loans, it sounds like Hungary can get up to 16 billion euros without any strings attached. So why not using the same kind of mechanism with, for example, super milestone, what was used for RF, if you are concerned about the Hungarian situation, if you really want to put more pressure on Hungary to address these concerns? Thank you very much.
I'm happy to take that question and thank you for it. I think the overall message arising from today is that our work continues with Hungary. The Commission remains open for dialogue and for engagement with that member state. Our concerns are well documented and have been well aired, and they remain relevant today. Where we have a direct legal basis, we have taken action. As you know, we are expecting, possibly in the coming months, at least two significant judgments from the Court of Justice on the sovereignty protection law and also on the so-called child protection law. And we have used the instruments at our disposal where we have the clear legal basis in terms of the conditionality mechanism in relation to the RRF and the super milestones that you have alluded to, and also under the Common Provisions Regulation. So the horizontal enabling condition has been invoked and certain funds remain unavailable to Hungary as a result of that. So overall, you are talking about in the region of 18 billion euro of funding between grants and loans that are currently not available to Hungary because of rule of law compliance matters. Every instrument and every new initiative that the Commission brings forward has its own architecture, has its own legal framework, but where we have a sound legal basis to act and to ensure that rule of law is respected as afforded to us by the Parliament and by the Member States, then I think we've demonstrated a willingness to act, and we continue to stand ready to act where necessary, and indeed the Assembly law continues to be evaluated by the Commission services in relation to its compliance with EU law as well.
I also want to comment on this question. Today's meeting and hearing on Hungary was not on the tools of rule of law, but merely on the substance of the violation of rule of law by Hungary, going into the concerns and also giving Hungary the possibility of answering and answering to those concerns. We have, however, previously discussed the tools. There are very high concern from the member countries. We discussed whether we have the proper tools available for us in September at our informal General Affairs Council meeting in Copenhagen, and there is a broad support from member countries to look into those tools. For instance, we have at several occasions discussed how we can strengthen the conditionality mechanism, also in light of the discussions on the Multiannual Financial Framework, how we can strengthen the conditionality mechanism in the budget there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Minister. Do we have more questions? If not, this concludes the press briefing. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Thank you so much, Minister.